This handout is reviewing the 4 different types of unemployment. So hopefully you work through this, or you can stop the video and work through it and then see if your answers are right. So the top part I'm not going to read to you. You should have in your notes the 4 different types of unemployment, different types of examples and things like that. But number one, which kind of unemployment would be easiest to tolerate? And that would be the frictional unemployment, because that one is voluntary in most cases. It's usually their transition from college students to the workforce, or a stay-at-home mom going back into the workforce, or voluntarily leaving one job to move to another job. So that one is the easiest to tolerate. Which would be the most destructive to the unemployed person or his or her family? And that would be the structural one. And that's just because these are jobs that are eliminated due to the fact that there's no longer need for anyone in that particular position. You've been replaced by a machine, or whatever it is that you've been making is now obsolete. So all the years of experience and training that you have, you cannot transition or find another job doing that same exact thing because it no longer exists. And then which is most destructive to the economic system as a whole? And once again, that would be structural, because we have to retrain people, or those people are going to be permanently unemployed. Hang on. Like it, thanks. Mr. Sparks just walked in, so say hi, Mr. Sparks.
Hello. Goodbye.
See ya. Okay. Next handout. For instances of unemployment, in the first column, write which kind of unemployment the person faces, and then second, give your reason for your choice. I'm going to give you the type, and then you can go back and fill in the reason. But Tommy, an electrician's apprentice who installs electric wiring in New York City skyscraper, is often unemployed during January and February, and so that is hopefully, obviously, seasonal. Mrs. Coughlin has just sent her youngest child off to school. She hopes to return to secretarial work, which she has done previously, and so now she's voluntarily going back into the workforce, so this is frictional. She left voluntarily, she's entering voluntarily. During a downswing in the business cycle, Pat, a worker at a refrigerator plant, loses her job. And so when you see that business cycle, you know that it's because of an economic downturn. And then finally, Karen worked as a proofreader at a magazine's main office. Her editor now does Karen's work on a computer. So a lot of jobs that were driven with labor can now be done with capital. And so she might have to be retrained and try to do something else. So that is a structural unemployment. This handout here, some of them I think you could argue in multiple ways. So the first one, Cheryl Ladd just finished her last movie and is looking for her next film. So that is frictional. She's just between jobs. Tim Tromer was laid off from his construction job because of a recession. That is cyclical. It's a downturn in the economy. Jennifer Waxham just graduated from college and is searching for her first job. So that's frictional. Tom Hyde quit his oil exploration job with the U.S. company and is searching for work in Connecticut. Once again, it's not because of an economic downturn. It's not because the jobs have been eliminated. He voluntarily is doing that, so that's frictional. Kim Lee has been laid off from the Aerospace Corporation because defense cutbacks, and that is going to be a cyclical one. We're not doing away with these jobs, but because of an economic downturn for whatever reason, and cutbacks in spending. Tom Johnson is retiring voluntarily from the Navy and is looking for work in Los Angeles. Once again, voluntarily is our key, so that's frictional. Carrie Nell has been laid off from Security Pacific Bank because of its merger with Bank of America. This is going to be structural, and I think you could argue cyclical. I'm not sure we have enough information on that one to answer that one, but Armando Valdez has been laid off by IBM as part of a company's cost cutting. That's cyclical. Linda Burnett is taking voluntary retirement from teaching, is looking for part-time work, frictional. Suli, a homemaker of 20 years, is out looking for her first paid job. Once again, that's frictional. Roger the Dodger, a gang member and drug dealer, is working and earning big bucks. He is not considered unemployed, but he is working in what's called the underground economy. He's obviously not reporting any of his earnings to the government, not paying any taxes on that. So he is working in the underground economy. He is not unemployed, so he is none of those. Isabel Murata was laid off from her job at Apple Computer, and the only work she could find was in fast food restaurants. She is not now looking for work. If you are not looking for work, then you are not considered unemployed. So she is not any one of these. The term that we would use for her is called a discouraged worker, and there are a lot of them out there who just can't find anything in their field and won't work in jobs that they feel are beneath them. Sarah Laurie has quit her job to stay home and raise her first child. And once again, she is not unemployed because she is not looking for a job. Christy Sims has been laid off from Macy's department store because of declining sales. That would be cyclical. And then the 6-year-old California drought reduced the demand for fruit processors and ski instructors, and that would be seasonal.